Welcome back. If you just joined us, we've been looking at the reform of the water sector in Nigeria, and our guest on this episode of Question Time is the Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu. Join us again. Tell us about the recent 5.9 billion naira water project launched in Bayelsa recently, the National Water Project. How many Nigerians would that cater for?
It's a regional water supply scheme that is supposed to cater for 13 communities, including Otuoke is the one that is the most famous of them, and those 13 communities represent about 130,000 people. It's part of the roadmap. Commissioning this project is part of the activities on our roadmap that we are going to identify the priority projects and complete them. We must complete projects. We will not abandon or just fund projects skeletally, but we'll fund them substantially so that we can have meaningful closure of these projects, and that's exactly what we did.
Let's come to statistics now. Findings have shown that 31% of Nigerians are still lacking clean and potable water, and that translates to 52.7 million Nigerians. What's the hope for these people?
Yeah, there's a lot of hope. It's easy for you to say 52.7, but we don't even factor the fact that the Nigerian population is rising. So if we are not doing something, we have to do a quantum leap, to also cater for the increase in the population. But I will say there is hope. Like I said, we're launching a new national program on water and sanitation. We hope the states will ginger up and invest more in water. We'll look for source of funding anywhere we can get, but we must also mobilize the entire country, including the private sector. I want all these philanthropic foundations. We want churches and mosques to invest money and build water schemes. But as you know, the federal government can only provide leadership and limited funding, because essentially provision of water supply is the responsibility of states and local governments.
Perhaps we need to do more accounts of stewardship, taking stock now. I don't know, in the process of looking at the records now, have you come up, because we understand that many projects were launched at face level, only to discover that it was just connected to a remote tank somewhere, and it's more like a smoke screen. Did you discover something of such?
Well, I deal with most of the projects I've dealt with are most of the big projects. We have seen quite a number of disturbing issues and irregularities having to do with funding and things like that, which we're trying to straighten out. It's not unusual for some contractor to have been paid, and maybe he has been paid advance payment and he has not been able to do the work. First of all, we'll try to see how we can get the contractor to do the work. Then if they are not ready to work, we'll try to find a way to recover our funds. But I think at the level of the Federal Minister of Water Resources, I have not come across it, but I know it happens.
Let's come to the rural areas now. In terms of provision of clean and potable water for these interiors, what's the plan of your administration?
That's where we are launching the Partnership for Expanded Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Program. Essentially, it's targeted at the rural areas, because the Sustainable Development Goals was not only talking about improved access of water per se, it's also talking about equitable access. That means women should not be suffering to go and fetch water from 5 kilometers away. Women and young girls should not be doing that. Sanitation must be provided for all. We now realize that most of the problem of access is in the rural areas, and that is where, for start, the federal government that's where we'll target. See how much we can do, while at the same time working based on the provisions of the water law to see how we can also improve the urban situation.
The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2 and 6 is based on water and food security. How do you intend to achieve this mandate?
We're working with two frameworks, the National Water Resources Master Plan and the Sustainable Development Goal 6 specifically. That is what relates to the ministry.
Now, in terms of irrigation, the dams, what's the Water Resources Ministry doing in providing all this infrastructure?
Under the roadmap, we are planning between now and 2020 to increase the hectareage from about 70,000. Now we want to have like a minimum of 100,000 hectares.
And the dams?
Oh, the dams, we have more than enough dams for now. They're just underutilized.
Let's look at areas in the Northeast that are suffering from drought and desertification. What are you doing to tackle these challenges? We also remember that the United Nations raised an alarm that 4.5 million Nigerians are living in extreme starvation in the Northeast. So what are you doing in that regard?
In terms of supporting agriculture, there is little we can do at the moment because we have to get full confirmation that the area where we're operating is no longer a war zone. The Chad Basin that is under my ministry, there is a potential for 60,000 hectares of irrigation for wheat, rice, and what have you. But the Boko Haram insurgency has completely destroyed the infrastructure there, which we have to rebuild. The only thing they were able to salvage was the powerhouse, which is used to pump water. And then, of course, there is also the threat that you mentioned of desertification. But the desertification or climate change, these are natural phenomena that there's nothing really anybody can do. All we can do is to try to alleviate the situation by bringing in climate resilient plants, which is what the World Bank and everybody is doing all over the world. I think Nigeria has tried very much over time in terms of trying to conquer the desertification.
Recall that Mr. President made an appeal to save the Lake Chad Basin. How far have you gone in that appeal?
Well, of course, first of all, the security situation has to improve, and I'll give kudos to the President and to our military because they've done a fantastic job. Just go to ask any individual in Maiduguri or anywhere in the Adamawa state and you hear what they have to say about the change in the security situation for good. Beyond that, there is the World Bank Climate Resilience Investment Plan, which was launched in Paris, which I believe there's going to be a side event at the United Nations. I think it's about getting donors to put in some money. We're also supposed to identify some specific projects that we need to be done. I think that is in the works. It's work in progress.
Before we wind down this episode of Question Time, the International Day for Water is focused on water and jobs. In terms of providing jobs for Nigerians, would you say Nigeria is on course?
Yes. You would not realize that we did an assessment recently and found that close to 70% of all activities, production, whatever, are water related. What I didn't mention about our new program on water and sanitation is that we also want to create water entrepreneurs. Already we have vendors, we have people selling pure water and things like that. But we want a situation where people can now do their own water schemes, own it, treat the water, distribute it, not of course for a fee, and they can do it, they can run it as a business, and like they do in some European countries and other developed countries, even to go into a loo, you have to drop some coins there, and people are making money out of it. Why can't we do that? Why can't our corporate organizations brand a public toilet? Why can't they brand a water scheme? And that creates jobs for people.
Engineer Suleiman Adamu, Honorable Minister of Water Resources, thank you very much for making our time to be part of this episode of Question Time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Bender. Thank you.
This reminds me of an old saying, water, water everywhere, but none to drink. This sad commentary captures the fate of 52.7 million Nigerians trapped in this unfortunate reality. And that's it on this episode of Question Time. You may also send us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Join us next week on another exciting episode of the show on Channels Television. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashuru. Bye for now.